Time to make plans for the Super Bowl, and the USDA has some tips for food safety. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin, and with us is USDA expert Meredith Carothers. Good to see you again, Meredith.
Hi, yes, thanks for having me.
Well, we're talking about the Super Bowl here, and a lot of people celebrate with food more than anything else. It's almost bigger than the game. So give us an overview of some of the things that people should be on the lookout for to stay safe.
Sure. So, of course, with any kind of food gathering, we're always recommending for people to follow the 4 steps to food safety, which is clean, separate, cook, and chill. Clean means starting with clean hands and utensils and making sure you're washing those throughout food preparation after you've eaten food as you're cleaning up. Separate, if you're going to be cooking any of your food at home, means to keep any of your raw meat and poultry products separate from any foods that are ready to eat. You know, if you're making some raw wings next to your takeout pizza, you want to keep those nice and separate so you're not cross-contaminating. If you're cooking anything, you want to use a food thermometer to make sure it's reached a safe internal temperature as read by that food thermometer. And then chill is probably one of the biggest things we're going to need to keep in mind for Super Bowl. It's making sure that foods don't stay out for more than 2 hours unless you're keeping them hot or cold, and that you're also getting those back into the refrigerator in that safe amount of time and making sure you're not using your leftovers way too long after Super Bowl has ended.
So that's a big challenge because the game goes on for, I don't know, 3-4 hours, I think, perhaps. And then there's the pregame stuff, and everybody's watching the game, watching the ads, and just eating everything in between. So that's a challenge when food is out for that long, right? You're saying don't
Definitely.
do that?
Right. So you don't want to do that. I mean, I'm definitely the biggest person who loves some good chicken wings and some chips and dip at Super Bowl. So I totally get it. It's a long time. You're not fully paying attention because you're focusing on the game, of course. But that's why we're here to give you some tips to keep yourself safe and keep your food safe. If you're hosting a gathering, keep your guests safe from foodborne illness. So that 2-hour time frame is going to be a really important time frame. You want to almost think of it as like a game clock. So you have 2 hours on the clock. You have to make sure you're calling those timeouts. Either, put out a smaller portion of food, swap it out with another portion that's fresh and, not going to be unsafe because it's been out for too long. And then also doing things like keeping it warm. You have the players warm up, get your food warmed up, make sure that's nice and warm, keep it warm throughout the game or throughout that time frame. And yeah, just 2 hours is you want to focus on that 2 hours and not leave your things out for more than that.
It's also a very big day for takeout food. So what should we keep in mind when food gets delivered here? Sometimes it's pretty hot, sometimes it's not.
So you want to try and pay attention to when your food is going to be delivered. As we know, sometimes deliveries can take a little bit. Your food isn't piping hot. So if you're going to be eating your food right away, pulling it in as soon as it's delivered, not leaving it out on your porch or your front steps or your front door for too long, getting it inside, unwrapping it. You're eating it right away, going ahead and either maybe reheating it, getting it a little bit more hot, and then serving it right away. Or if you're getting it in the morning and you're serving it later as the Super Bowl or the game starts, you want to make sure you're getting that into the fridge as soon as you can. If you're getting it like an hour or two before your guests come, things like a preheated oven, you're getting a tray of chicken wings, pop that into the oven. Or if you're getting a pizza, pop it into the oven. That way it helps, keep it warm at a safe temperature without necessarily cooking it or drying it out or something like that. So an oven on low is really great option. If you're getting things that can go in a slow cooker is a great option to be able to put things in. It'll keep it warm at a safe temperature, but otherwise the refrigerator and then reheating them later when you're ready to serve is going to be your safest option.
Yeah, slow cookers are great for meatballs and that kind of stuff, right? So,
my favorite.
So you've got all this food out and it's on a table and people are bringing it over to where the TV is and having a good time. And then the game ends, everybody goes home. You got some food left on the table there. It's been out for, I don't know how long. Shame to throw it out. I want to have it tomorrow maybe. So what should we keep in mind?
So if you want to save your food and you want to have safe leftovers, you have to be following that 2-hour rule, or like we mentioned, keeping your hot foods hot or your cold foods cold. So your hot foods have to be in a slow cooker, in an oven, a chafing dish, or even those things, that have the fire underneath them and it keeps the trays warm. Any of those are going to help keep your food at a safe hot temperature. And then you can forgo the 2-hour rule. If it's staying at that safe temperature, the 2-hour rule doesn't apply. You can safely keep those leftovers after. But if your foods are not being kept hot and they are just sitting out at room temperature and they have gone past that 2-hour time frame, they will not be safe to eat, or there's a big chance that they're not safe. And we would always recommend to err on the side of caution and to not use those, just because they can cause foodborne illness. If foods are out for too long, they can also produce heat resistant toxins that then won't be killed by reheating. So it's not necessarily going to make it safe to reheat the food. So for that reason, we just always recommend, unfortunately, to discard those leftovers or pay attention to your 2-hour time frame, get those back into the refrigerator so you can enjoy those leftovers.
Yeah, the last thing you want is to get an email or a phone call the next day saying, "Hey, do you feel okay? I feel kind of funny."
Right.
Where's the best place for people to go to for more information, tips about food safety?
Yes, so we have a ton of resources on our website, www.fsis, that's Food Safety and Inspection Service.usda.gov. So fsis.usda.gov. We have a ton of fact sheets. We have Super Bowl specific information that's up there and ready for you. And then we also have a live meat and poultry hotline that is food safety experts like myself available to answer any of your questions. If you have a panic or have a question the day after the Super Bowl, give us a call at 1-888-674-6854.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for all the info. Meredith Carothers, thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you and have a great Super Bowl.